Alright, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, Connor on Chain. So let's cover a little bit about the market because it is still chopping, not doing anything. Bitcoin recently got rejected, in this internal area of structure here, had a very sharp decline. Um, it's actually kind of following this drawing I had, and it's hard to know exactly what's going to happen for it, but with this drawing, what I was kind of indicating is if we can see it kind of double bottom, triple bottom after this dump, and then actually start moving back up, and then also break past this level again, that will probably turn into another bullish trend, and then potentially move up into a potential target zone for a short. Um, so I'm playing this market very much so both ways from here on out. Recently in our Discord, we just, as of a day or two ago, just introduced a lot of different trade setups as well. Because, normally for me, I've always just done spot buying on dexes and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be very important we focus on a lot of trades, especially even higher caps that just have really good setups and very good charts. Because if you guys are familiar with my channel, I'm very much so technical based when it comes to any sort of investing. I love charts. Charts usually the number one factor that I look for with almost anything. So, we got a few things to cover too, because if you guys have also seen, BitTensor is actually becoming a major part of my portfolio. I'm very bullish on BitTensor itself. I think this is just this project is just leaps and bounds ahead of pretty much every other AI project in the space, in the fact that it's creating a real sustainable ecosystem for AI projects to actually build and thrive, and to legitimately make more money, consistently from BitTensor's tokenomics and its flywheel itself. But obviously for the chart at least, it's still been sideways, just like basically everything in the market. There's only been a few coins over the last few days, even like week or two, that have been kind of moving heavy. Yesterday or the day before, we had a pretty good, movement in the market itself. Still a lot of memes are down incredibly bad. Some of my favorites though going forward are Cult and also Mog still. I would say are probably my favorite two right now. Even Pepe though, obviously Pepe is a still one of the biggest meme coins for the cycle. I don't care what anyone says. I don't even hold Pepe though. I just like to bring it up. But I think the number one meme coin probably will hold here unless Ethereum breaks. And this is what I wanted to pull up today. Is even ETH. Ethereum itself is, or rather has been sitting in a multi-year trend right now. This momentum was very bullish, and this is actually very similar price action to like what is right here. With this movement, we had upwards, downwards, upwards, downwards. It's just forming bullish momentum, right? Same thing happened here. If we put a resistance level, this general area, right? Same exact idea. Up, down, up, down. And eventually it just has a huge break. And at this point in the cycle, though, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I think if you wanted to bet on anything right now in the market, I think a bet on Ethereum is probably going to be the number one bet, because I know a lot of people have been worried about an alt season not happening or something. I am telling everyone right now, if Ethereum just puts in a couple really good green days, everyone that has said that is going to take back what they said. They're going to, if we see ETH at 4K, maybe even upwards of 5K, back to its previous all-time high, like ever, you think those same people are going to be saying that alt season's not going to happen? Like, no. They're saying that because we've only seen mainly coins on Solana going crazy over the last, maybe a year, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, on and off, you know. But Ethereum just hasn't really shown itself and it has not done anything yet. So I think if we're going to see some sort of alt season like we've seen in the past, Ethereum is literally the only thing that needs to move. I'm telling you. If Ethereum starts moving up, everything else will move. BitTensor will move up. Virtual. Bitcoin obviously is going to do its thing. Which this is the other worry though, because there is still a, very high potential that Bitcoin actually can come back down, which obviously would put, a setup kind of like this completely out of play, right? Because this is probably going to dump ETH, I would say minimum to like 2K, 2200, 2100. If Bitcoin does decide to, drop to like 84, I've had my mindset, if we are going to finally break this resistance, or I'm sorry, support level, I think we are going to probably hit it in between a minimum of like 88K to like 84. Around 84 I've had in my head for at least a month, couple months now, but again, that is granted if that happens. It's never guaranteed, but you cannot discard one way or the other. You can't be, I'm kind of a permabull in a bull run, but you can't put downside risk out of the equation. Is kind of what I'm saying. You got to focus on both sides, especially in this kind of cycle. But for me, the thing is I've been waiting for Bitcoin to kind of hit back up to somewhat near the highs, but it just doesn't, like the buy pressure over the last month in February just has not been there like whatsoever. That's why I was kind of shocked to see such a heavy candle. And that was kind of my worry. This is what I've been saying in our Discord as well. Is usually when you see a lot of price action that is choppy and sideways, there's kind of two ways you can, I guess you can kind of see the momentum beforehand. Something I look for is the heavier the moves in one direction versus the other way. It's usually a telltale sign. Not every time, but fairly often. With Bitcoin here, like when we're seeing upwards movements, we're not seeing any crazy candles. I mean, we have not seen like a really good upswing, in the last like month or two, right? But we're seeing heavy downside wicks, every single time Bitcoin has the chance to dump, right? So meaning if we even saw a really, really bullish movement on Bitcoin, it's probably going to be a very choppy, slow, sideways, weak push to the upside. But then what's going to happen? When it finally stops, the downside is going to be probably a major candle. That's kind of my worry in the market right now. Like I'm still very much exposed to everything. I literally started to buy BitTensor, and I will probably continue to buy it even if it goes lower, but Um, yeah, like that. I would really say that if Bitcoin kind of breaks out of this range and doesn't want to hold, this is probably going to come lower. I'm not even trying to be a bear, but it's you got to play both sides because it's just this market is crazy. You know, we have seen altcoins hit legitimate like bear market lows while Bitcoin is still sitting this high. That is the biggest worry about this entire cycle, especially for me. If Bitcoin was already dumped and, we had this correction where it was all the way down here, right? More like I would say 95% chance in the current time of the cycle, this would be the bottom. Bitcoin's not going to go lower than this in 2025, unless maybe the cycle ends late 2025. But it's the fact that we still have this risk of seeing that downside happen, which of course is going to nuke everything another 30 to 50%, right? That's been my biggest worry. We have not seen a real major correction on Bitcoin at all in 2025. A lot of people saw this dump, but all of this has been maintaining this bullish structure. It hasn't broke out of a clear high time frame structure yet. That has been my biggest worry. That's why I was bearish over here all in January. I thought we were actually just going to nuke straight down, but we had this liquidity grab, push up, fake out again, and now we're kind of figuring out what is Bitcoin doing now. So, this video is there's no rhyme or reason to it, but I am still focusing on many different coins. Arc AI Rig Complex on Solana. I still really like this project, but obviously momentum has slowed with AI agent based plays because my main focus has been BitTensor subnets for a while. I've seen a lot of back and forth on Twitter though. A lot of people are very bullish on them, kind of from a long-term perspective, which is where I'm at. But a lot of people too are questioning them very hard because of their liquidity, because of how, they're fully diluted to circulating supply is microscopic. Um, but personally, like I said, I'm very bullish on them. I think they're going to be volatile at first because the way that they work, right when BitTensor launched its dynamic Tau, their subnets, they're going to be volatile. They have probably the lowest liquidity I think they'll ever have at first. But if you give it a few weeks, a few months, even a year, which obviously is a long time to be waiting, especially when we're in the midst of this bull run. In a year, we could see everything, you know, actually turn into the bear market, right? But if you give it some time, I think the liquidity will start to get a little bit better. But yeah, a lot of people are, there's some talk on it, like good and bad. But like I said, I still think that a lot of the projects building on BitTensor are building real working, useful products that actually have demand and a need in AI. I feel like 90% of projects in crypto, probably 99, are literal dog shit. They don't do anything, literally nothing. It's all just hype, playing the AI narrative. But I'm just surprised I never fully dove into BitTensor like long ago. Even in 2023, I saw this thing for so long, and I just never looked into it. So yeah, I don't know, crazy. I've just been getting a lot more bullish on BitTensor. I just think it's still undervalued for where it's at. RWA has been a narrative lately too that has been somewhat holding up. Chex has been a coin. Shout out to Trimbot on Twitter. This dude has been he DM'd me in 2023 talking about Chex. It's been on my radar ever since. But, I really have not been fully focused on it or watching RWA mainly because, it's had some hype. It got some hype in 2023. But we're still kind of waiting for the narrative to have that spark again. Which, I do feel like it's going to happen at some point. I think in this cycle, I still think AI is going to have a crazy run. I think it's the number one narrative. But also, there's going to be some sort of narrative related to regulation or institutional tokenization, something like that. I'm not saying RWA is going to be it. We could see DeFi. It could be DeFi. It could be privacy. It could be decentralized ID, like some random shit. You know what I mean? That has to do with a lot of regulatory clarity, things like that. There's going to be a narrative that pops like that because of the regulation. And just a lot of institutional backing, institutional money coming in, which again, it's either going to be probably RWA, DeFi, or something related with like privacy, because privacy has been very questionable narrative, I think for many cycles now. But now that there's more clarity, or at least in the future, it's probably going to be a lot more on that too. Something like that. So those I think are going to be two of the biggest narratives, at least in crypto, over the next, whether it is the few months or just all throughout 2025. But then also too, robotics, I think at some point, probably sooner than later, is going to have its moment. I think robotics within crypto and DePIN is also going to have its time. So I think those are some of the biggest upcoming narratives in 2025. And again, granted that we actually have some sort of altcoin run, and I firmly believe we will. But like I said, it's going to come down to this literal tank, this thing that doesn't want to move, this turtle. We got to wake up a little bit. Vitalik's got to start buying up supply instead of selling it all the time. But not for real, though. I think ETH has just got to, start waking up. But we've also seen a lot of shit happen in the market. Like, I think it was Bybit got hacked for 1 point something billion, 1.4. So if they got to buy all that back, that's probably going to be pretty good. Don't know if they're literally doing it now, if they're going to wait. But, outside of that, guys, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit this morning. Give you guys a rundown of what's going on. Because there's some of my favorite ecosystems right now: Hyperliquid, BitTensor, and Virtual. Virtual's down bad, but I think it's finally looking like it's bottomed out. I still absolutely love this project. But yeah, outside of that, that's what I wanted to cover in this video today, guys. I appreciate you all watching, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.